Spinoza, the philosopher they tried to silence. In July 1656, something happened in Amsterdam that would echo far beyond its own time. The Portuguese-Jewish community issued a formal order of excommunication against a young man named Baruch Spinoza. He was only 23 years old. The language was severe. Members of the community were forbidden from associating closely with him, reading his writings, or maintaining contact with him. In a single moment, Spinoza was cut off from the religious world in which he had been raised. For someone so young, the punishment was enormous. Now, this was not just a personal disagreement or a public embarrassment. It meant separation from the community that shaped nearly every part of life: worship, learning, family connections, daily routines, and social belonging. Spinoza was not expelled from Amsterdam itself, but he was cast out from the world that had given him his place within it. Why was he treated so harshly? The exact reasons were never fully explained. The decree did not lay out a clear philosophical case against him, but his later writings make the answer easier to understand. Spinoza questioned traditional interpretations of Scripture. He rejected the idea of a personal God who intervenes in human affairs, rewards obedience, and punishes disobedience. In place of that familiar picture, he offered something far more radical: that God and nature are not separate, but are two ways of understanding the same reality. To many people in the 17th century, this did not sound like philosophy. It sounded like danger. If God was not a ruler standing above the universe, then what became of divine judgment, miracle, and religious authority? Spinoza's ideas seemed to threaten the foundations of faith itself. But expulsion did not silence him. In some ways, it freed him. Spinoza left behind much of his old social world and built a new life around study, discipline, and thought. He moved between towns in the Dutch Republic, including Rijnsburg, Voorburg, and later The Hague. He also adopted the Latin form of his name, Benedictus de Spinoza, a sign that he now belonged not only to one community, but to the wider republic of European learning. He lived simply, almost austerely. He owned little, avoided public fame, and never tried to build power around himself. There is something striking about that contrast. His ideas would one day reshape modern philosophy, yet his own life remained quiet and materially modest. He wrote letters, studied carefully, and worked mostly in silence. To support himself, Spinoza took up a difficult craft, grinding and polishing optical lenses. It was slow, exacting work, demanding patience and precision. In a way, it suited him perfectly. The 17th century was an age transformed by instruments of sight. Telescopes opened new views of the heavens. Microscopes revealed hidden forms of life. And Spinoza, the philosopher accused of dangerous thinking, helped produce the kind of lenses through which people could examine the natural world more clearly. The image feels almost symbolic. His philosophy, like his craft, was about clarity, about removing distortion and seeing reality as it truly is. Whether he was polishing glass or constructing arguments, the goal was the same: to cut through confusion. Yet this work came at a cost. Many accounts suggest that the fine dust from lens grinding may have worsened the lung illness from which he later died. It cannot be said with complete certainty that the work caused his death, but it may well have contributed to it. His life was thoughtful, disciplined, and productive, but it was never easy. Hostility toward him did not disappear outside the Jewish community. According to later reports, someone once tried to attack him with a knife. Spinoza survived, and it is said that he kept the damaged coat as a reminder of the event. Not every detail of the story can be verified beyond doubt, but its survival tells us something important. Spinoza was not seen merely as eccentric. To many of his contemporaries, his ideas were deeply unsettling, and still his reputation spread. Quietly, almost against the will of the age, his writings circulated among scholars and serious readers. Those who encountered his work recognized something extraordinary in it: rigor, boldness, and a rare confidence in reason. By the early 1670s, Spinoza had become known in learned circles across Europe. Then came a remarkable offer. In 1673, the University of Heidelberg invited him to accept a professorship in philosophy. For most thinkers, this would have been the highest form of recognition: status, security, and a respected place in the intellectual world. But there was a limit attached. He would be free to philosophize so long as he did not disturb the publicly established religion. Spinoza declined, politely but firmly. He understood what was being asked. Thought that must remain within approved boundaries is not fully free. Once again, he chose independence over prestige. During these same years, he was working on the book that would become his masterpiece, Ethics. It was unlike most philosophical works. Spinoza wrote it in a geometric style, beginning with definitions and axioms, then moving step by step through propositions and demonstrations. He wanted philosophy to have the same clarity and force as mathematics. At the center of Ethics was his most famous idea that there is only one infinite substance, and that everything in existence is an expression of it. He called this reality God, or nature. Human beings, animals, stars, thoughts, bodies, and natural laws all belong to the same unified order. For many readers, this sounded like atheism. But Spinoza did not see himself as denying God. He believed he was describing the divine in a deeper, more rational way. He knew these ideas would provoke outrage, so he did not publish Ethics during his lifetime. Then, in February 1677, at the age of 44, Spinoza died in The Hague, probably from a chronic lung illness. Soon afterward, his friends gathered his unpublished manuscripts and arranged for them to be printed. The reaction was fierce. His writings were condemned by powerful religious and political authorities. For a long time, his name was linked with unbelief, heresy, and dangerous speculation. Yet condemnation did not erase him. In the end, it failed. Over time, philosophers came to recognize the originality of his thought. Others found inspiration in his vision of a universe governed by rational order rather than arbitrary intervention. Centuries later, Albert Einstein would famously say that he believed in Spinoza's God, not a personal deity concerned with human rewards and punishments, but the divine revealed in the lawful harmony of existence. Today, Spinoza is widely regarded as one of the foundational figures of modern philosophy. That is the remarkable turn in his story. A man once cut off from his own community, living quietly and working by hand in small rented rooms, became one of the great thinkers of the modern world. His life still speaks to us because it shows how powerful thought can be. Spinoza did not command armies, hold office, or control institutions. His influence came from something quieter and more enduring: the patient courage to follow reason wherever it led. The young outcast of Amsterdam did not disappear. He endured. And in time, his ideas traveled farther than the voices that tried to silence them.